Here's proof that a place doesn't have to be famous to be an outrageous destination, and blood sugar doesn't have to be perfect to enjoy a great day in Russian Latvia. Hi, I'm Jeremy. Thanks for watching. Today's our first full day in the town of Daugavpils in Latvia. Me and Masya were going to go check out this old Russian fortress, and then we're going to walk around something called the Hill of Churches. And maybe best of all, we're going to get around by tram. My blood sugar this morning when I woke up was 155, which is almost exactly what it was last night. Any diabetic loves that. We went downstairs in the Hotel Biplan for our breakfast buffet, and this was the best breakfast we've had on this whole trip so far. Every food you could imagine was there. And we were the only people there. We may be the only guests in this whole hotel. I'll say it again, traveling in the off-season to weird places is so much fun. Now the TV was on in the breakfast room, and this guy on TV was reporting from the market in Riga where we just visited yesterday. We walked around this very same market before coming here to Daugavpils. Not only that, but when I took a photograph of the TV screen, the crawl at the bottom mentioned Daugavpils. The travel gods are directly smiling on us specifically. We walked around the hotel a little bit to admire the aviation-themed decor, did a little laundry, stuck my insulin in the refrigerator, and then we headed outside. Daugavpils is not a huge place, but there is a small tram system. And luckily there was a tram stop right outside the hotel. We got on and instantly loved the atmosphere. It was an old rickety tram. In my mind, a Soviet tram. And just as every tram I've ever been on in my life, I was really enjoying it, and everybody else was just a local using it for mundane transportation. We had money ready, waiting to pay somebody for the trip, but nobody ever came around to collect it. So the ride ended up being free. At each stop, more people got off the tram, and by the time we got to the very last stop, there were hardly any of us. But we had a special destination to go to here. It's this old Russian place called Daugavpils Fortress. Or as it's usually known in Latvian, cietoksnis. Construction on the Daugavpils cietoksnis began in 1810. It was attacked 2 years later by Napoleon's armies when it wasn't even done yet. After the attack, construction resumed. In World War II, when Germany controlled the area, cietoksnis was used as a prisoner of war site for Soviet prisoners, one of Germany's famed stalags. This one specifically was Stalag 340. Now the old barracks and administration buildings lie inside the fortress on wide streets. It's the only fortress of its kind still in its original state. To get to cietoksnis, you walk from the tram stop through tunnels and gates, past the ramparts with their crumbling red structures, abandoned but awesomely scenic, and you go through the gate. Now be sure you follow the regulations when you're in cietoksnis. For example, if you have domestic animals with you, be sure to harvest their droppings with your equipment. Please use the public toilets only for sorting nature's needs. I don't want to know why that was necessary to mention. And for God's sake, you animals, stop teasing the bats. Inside cietoksnis are these wide streets with these big old buildings, and the buildings are all this kind of grand Soviet style, very, very square and rectangular, kind of half decaying, but with new cars parked out front. It was like a big outdoor version of Pattare prison from Tallinn. Sometimes a car would drive by, but the streets didn't really seem to be leading anywhere. There weren't that many people, but a few were walking around. And apparently some people actually live inside the fortress. I can't imagine what that would be like. What a property. Maybe people are just impressed by this, what has to be the world's greatest approach to a porta potty. In the quiet and weird world of cietoksnis, I checked my blood sugar and it was 199. Under 200! And as we prepared to leave, we suddenly came across the Mark Rothko Museum. I had no idea that was here, but apparently Mark Rothko was born in Daugavpils before he moved to America and became a famous artist. But we didn't have time to go in the Rothko Museum because we had other places to go. We went back to the tram stop and waited with a few other people for it to arrive. And of course it arrived. Ah, look at that, isn't that great? We rode back to the center of Daugavpils, and someone took our money this time, and found a little cafe for a snack. I checked again, it was 2:09. Probably shouldn't have bothered checking. but we had our pastries and coffee in Humalog, and then we took a tram out to the east side of town. Trams in this part of town are much nicer, much more high-tech, with nice LED lights, and we definitely paid here. We walked around this area which is known as the Hill of Churches. There's all these different churches of different denominations scattered around on these hills, and you can just walk around and check them out. All the architecture is different. There was nobody around when we were there, although I think we were being watched by some of the curious locals. As dusk approached, we walked back to the center of Daugavpils. In front of a lingerie shop, I checked my blood sugar and was 70. Now that's between 70 and 130, which I like. We got some takeout pizza to eat in the hotel room, and we watched an episode of Michael Palin's New Europe, the one where he goes to the Baltics. I was hoping that there would be some overlap between his trip and our trip, but there didn't seem to be any at all. How did he miss Pattare Prison? That would have been great TV. Before bed, my blood sugar was not good, 363. But I wasn't that upset. The pizza was thick and I just misjudged it. Fair enough. I only really hate high blood sugars if I can't explain them at all. This one, hey, pizza, you got me. After a day in a town as interesting and as cute as Daugavpils, who can be mad? Good thing and a bad thing about today. The good thing was the trams, especially the old rickety trams on the west side of town. Fantastic. Bad thing is that the laundry we did this morning isn't dry yet. And we gotta leave early tomorrow morning. What do? Pack wet clothes? Wear wet clothes? Diabetes thoughts for today. My average blood sugar was 199, and most of that was because of the high blood sugar after the pizza. But it still seems like I'm getting better overall. We haven't really seen enough of Latvia, but we gotta go. Tomorrow we're heading out to Lithuania, the last of the Baltics. Will a new country mean all new great blood sugars? Not yet. Tomorrow is gonna be my worst blood sugar day of the trip so far.